Everyone. A very good afternoon, to all of you. Welcome to this session. Uh, Kindly let me know if audible and visible. I do something different today, as you can see from the title. So I assume that my audio video is working well. Um, for those who are new here, I'm Niharika John Mehra, your faculty of English, and I'm thinking to start with little bit of practice of CSAT over here, where English reading comprehensions are very important, and this topic will be taken by me. Okay, so for those who still are not aware of um, my schedule here, so the classes on this channel are on Monday. They are on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Okay. And the other 3 days, my classes are on our other channel, which is the IBPS Hub. That's Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. We have additional 1 hour class every Saturday here at 8 p.m. So that's my schedule. Now, these are the questions taken directly from the previous years. These are reading comprehension questions. Very easy to do if you have good comprehension skill. Okay, so we will start in a minute. Jaldi se like or share kar do. Check out if you want to join our paid courses. Check out the details in the description below. Talk to our team, support team. Check out the app. आपको सब details मिल जाएंगी. Now, what do we get here is something very interesting. You get questions that are related to assumption, inference, and sometimes you have direct or indirect questions which are comparatively easy. So you'll start with this one. I told you these are the PYQs we are going to do. If this is the first time you are attempting such a passage and the question, it's okay. You're gonna know where you are standing, how much you still have to work, and on what. And if you have already practiced some, this is going to be an add-on to your practice. Please start now reading. That's the passage. On the right hand side, you have the question. Okay, I'll give you some time. You have to answer here in the chat. Give you 2 minutes for each question. If the passage is same, then I'm not going to give you whole minutes. Sometimes on one passage alone, you have two questions. Your reading speed should be really good. You want to do well in comprehension based questions. Reading speed along with understanding is a must. So the question says which of the following is or are emphatically conveyed, means with a force author is conveying and one of these, two of these, or none of these options in the passage. Okay, so let's understand what the passage is saying. Before that, we should at least read these two statements. That should be my approach. Approach होनी चाहिए कि पहले दो पढ़ लूँ थोड़ा. Without science, mankind could not have continued to exist till today. It's a strong statement. It says science के बिना तो हो ही नहीं सकता था. Could not have continued. Second says it is the science that will ultimately is an extreme word, and it says it is the science that will finally ultimately determine the destiny. So we need to check, is author emphasizing this much on science that we cannot do anything without it, or we could not have done anything about it? Dekhte hain. The history of science is the real history of mankind, so they are connected. In this striking epigram, a 19th century writer links science with the background. Most epigrams, its power lies in emphasizing by contrast an aspect of truth which may be easily overlooked. So, science is connected with how mankind um, uh, has existed. It, in this case, it is easy to overlook the relations between science and mankind and to treat the former as some abstract third party. So, in this sense, we can maybe not give science that much of importance, but actually, it is of importance. Science and mankind cannot be divorced from time to time at man's convenience, so we cannot separate mankind and science. Yet, we have seen, in spite of countless opportunities of improvement, the opening years of the present period have been dominated by international conflict. Author is saying science and mankind cannot be separated, but still we can see people have different opinion. Is this the inevitable result of the progress of science, or does the fault lie elsewhere? Why is it so? Why the connection is not well understood? So answer to this question was D, neither first nor second. Author is not talking about it. Author is mainly focused here on something else, that how people have been not able to connect the science with evolution of mankind, or there is something else. Both of the options here, second one was an extreme option. It is the science that will ultimately determine. Author is not saying anything like that in the passage. Without science, हम जहाँ हैं वहाँ हो ही नहीं सकते थे. That is also not the focus of the passage, so none of the points are conveyed. Answer was D. Same passage, we have a second question. This is an assumption based question. Okay. Now, this is an assumption. Assumptions are the statements that should first of all fall in line with the main idea of the argument that author has made, the theme that and the main idea that author has used in his passage. So there are two assumptions. The horrors of modern life are inevitable result of the progress of science. Okay? We need to see if any of the assumption or both are true, are correct. So the horrors of modern life are inevitable result, means something जो होकर ही रहेगा of the progress of science. That means जैसे जैसे science बढ़ेगा, as the science progress, all it's gonna do is wreak havoc on modern life. Second says the aspect of truth likely to be overlooked. There is something that has a chance to be overlooked, is that science is what man has made it. So again, let's get back to it. The passage says, little bit in between, यहाँ पे जो बोला है, its power lies in emphasizing by contrast an aspect of truth which may be easily overlooked. In this case, it is easy to overlook the relations between science and mankind. So, आसानी से people may not understand it, and to treat the former, that means science, as some abstract third party which can sometimes be praised for its influences. So we are praising for it, okay, but frequently and conveniently blamed for the horrors of war. So it's not all about the horrors of modern life. अगर ये होता true, if this would have been true, then author would not have praised science for its good result. So first one is absolutely out. Then the aspect of truth is that science is what man has made it. So here, as we read ahead, we get to see it depends on the good part, the good influence, and the horrors of war. We see that it's something that we cannot separate from mankind at man's convenience, because it's man who is using it the way we want, and that's why second is something I can assume, an assumption that could be made, that author ऐसा सोच रहा होगा कि aspect जो overlook हो जाता है, people don't understand this, is science is what man has made it, and that's why there are good things about it, there are bad things about it. So only second इसका आंसर था. Okay, so this one, there is a short passage and the question itself is there below the passage. Please go ahead, attempt this one now. Sure to like and share the session, guys. Let's stop the watch here because this is a super duper easy question, and the answer is C for this one. Now, this passage says, only with long experience and opening of his wares on many a beach where the language is not spoken, will the merchant come to know the worth of what he carries. Such goods, delicate goods as justice, love, and honor, courtesy, and indeed all things we care for. It later on says, which is now the main part where from where हमारा answer हमें मिलेगा, if you meet them in foreign land, and the art of learning fundamental common values is perhaps the greatest gain of travel. So when we meet other people while we travel, we learn to differentiate between local values and universal values. देखो, this is how we get to know because who wish to live at ease among their fellows. You have knowledge of some of your values, fundamental values, common values को हम सीख रहे हैं, and how they are different from the universal values. That's what we are getting to learn. इमेजिनेशन और अंडरस्टैंडिंग के बारे में तो बात ही नहीं करी है यहाँ पर कहीं भी. A few words which you do get is justice, love, and honor. Such delicate goods and indeed all things we care for are valid everywhere. मतलब globally कुछ चीजें जानने को मिल रही हैं which are present. Those are values, universal values, and then there are some values which are different. So local versus universal. Okay, there you go. This is the next passage. Answer to this one is D. None of them, neither one, neither two. So, author is talking something regarding how there are some incompetencies. By the time children reach class 8, bulk of them tend to be in the age range of 50 years, 13, 15. In a country, about a quarter of all children struggle with reading, simple basic arithmetic operations नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. Every year, about 25 million students move into life that lies for them beyond schooling. They cannot enter the workforce, they are not ready. For many families, these children are the first from their families. They expect that such graduates from school will go for higher education. Hardly anyone wants to go back to agriculture. So, he is simply talking about the scenario of education and what are the drawbacks. We still see that we are not producing uh, the workforce or we are not producing job ready people out of schools. Okay, now first assumption, for effective school education parents have greater role than governments. Okay, so this is the comparison. पेरेंट्स का रोल ज़्यादा है गवर्नमेंट से भी. Author has not indicated anything regarding who is responsible for the effectivity of school education. So first one cannot be assumed. Second says school curriculum that conforms to today's requirements and is uniform for the entire country may address the issues brought. The issues, on the other hand, abilities in terms of academic competencies are far lower than they should be, even based on the curricular expectation. So the expectation, curricular expectation of class A, the abilities are way lower, they are far lower. Again, author, if author would have assumed that the curriculum is not up to date, it's not uniform, and that's why people are lagging behind, वो उस बात को यहाँ पर शो करता, एक्सप्लेन करता, but this is also not what could have been the base of what he has written here. So neither one, neither two. So now the passage remains same. You can just focus on the question. Central idea. This is on the easier side if you compare it with assumption inference questions. Kindly answer here in the chat. Answer here is B. Now, the central idea is what is the main point that you understand after reading the passage. Especially towards the end, we can see author says parents and children expect that such graduates will go on to high school, college. Hardly anyone wants to go back to agriculture. On other hand, abilities in terms of academic competencies, the issue is that the abilities are lower than they should be based on curricular expectations of class 8, which was the reference he used in the beginning. Now, today, eradication of poverty in country will resolve the issue of underperformance. It's not about the poverty alone. That's not what is highlighted here. So, no. Monetary incentives to parents and teachers is a strategy. Of course, irrelevant point. Public policy should ensure that competencies and achievements are aligned with their expectations. Okay, so realistic expectations agar hongi, and there should be some kind of policy to make sure that the competencies and achievements are not very different, because you can see that the expectation here of parents and children are way too different from where they actually are. The level is very much diverse, so that's why C is your answer. Any extreme option like India is not going to take advantage of demographic dividend. सीधे ही मना कर दिया. So extreme options जो होते हैं only, not absolutely, these are hardly the answers that we get to see. Other passage. This is a really interesting one. I wish to see you people answering here. Would be great if you can think a little bit and get the gist of the passage. आपको spot on answer. Answer here is D. Now, please understand the question is which of the statement best reflects the thinking of the author about the science. So, उसने क्या thought लेकर ये लिखा है? That's what you have to check. We take it for granted now that science has a social responsibility. Starting with the statement that these days that's how people are, that they take science for granted when we want to connect it with the social responsibility. The idea would not have occurred to Newton or Galileo. They thought of science as an account of the world as it is, and the only responsibility they acknowledged was to tell the truth. So earlier, these people in their era, they connected science with only one thing, that was the responsibility of telling the truth. The idea that the science is a social enterprise is modern. Author is saying that social welfare, social enterprise वाला जो connection है वो comparatively modern है, and it begins at industrial revolution. We are surprised. Now author is saying that अभी तक क्यों नहीं हुआ? We are surprised that we cannot trace a social sense further back. क्यों नहीं हो रहा है further back? Because we nurse the illusion. Now author is saying it's the illusion that people feed, that the industrial revolution ended a golden age. Author is actually saying that science is something that has that when we connected it with social welfare, it started doing well. It is an illusion that people think the industrial revolution that connected science with social welfare ended a golden age, but ऐसा नहीं है. So science must pursue truth, but should be responsible for social welfare. So author is in the favor कि साइंस को सोशल वेलफेयर या सोशल कंस्ट्रेन में कैसे वर्क करना है या कैसे कनेक्टेड है उस पर भी ध्यान देना चाहिए. Science must value the commitment of the scientist. See, my author is focused on connecting science as a social enterprise. Okay, so not just the truth, but it has more to it. So A is not my answer. Science is a product of civilized society and must be used. Must is again a compulsion over here. होना ही चाहिए, extreme word out. Industrial revolution was made possible by the advancements in science. इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन के बारे में जो ऑथर ने बात करी है, इट इज विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू साइंस प्लस सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. दैट्स व्हाई सी इज नॉट व्हाट वी वांट हियर. नेक्स्ट वन. Just for this question, pardon me if the font is थोड़ा सा tricky to read. Just bear with me for this question alone. बाकी तो fonts इतने छोटे नहीं हैं. This one, I feel it's like question wala part is a little bit tiny. Make sure to like and share the session, guys. I can read the question for you. Which one of the following statements best reflects the logical, rational inference? Passage का inference बताना है. A. Curriculum for urban planning courses should have diverse and interdisciplinary approach. B. In India, city administration is under bureaucracy, which lacks formal training in urban planning and management. C. In India, the management of urban areas is a local affair with a chronic problem of insufficient funds. D. With high density of population and widespread poverty in our urban areas, planned development in them is very difficult. For clarity, I read this time. It's not something I'm going to do for every question. Inference is something that you understand that is not written directly but that is behind the lines of what is given in the past. So first we need to read that. Okay. By the way, for this one, answer is A. Okay. Today, if we consider cities such as all these as some of the most iconic cities, it is because plans carrying a heavy systems approach were imposed on their precedents. Okay, so we get to see authors begin with some example. The backbone of the systems theory is the process of translating. Now, what is the backbone? The backbone of the theory is the process of translating social, spatial, and cultural desirables into mathematical models using all these ways of formulating and solving problems. Early universities of the West, which began to train professionals in planning, they spawned some of the ingenious planners who were expert in these domains. So उन्होंने इन domains पे काम किया. This was because these subjects were absorbed into the planning curriculum. Curriculum में ये चीजें involved थी, इसलिए लोग उसे implement करने वाले हो सके. That had its roots in the social sciences, geography, architecture. Planning in India and its education differed from the West. आखिरी में उसने बोला कि ये जो West में the development हुआ है, they are doing well, क्यों हुआ है? तो ऑथर की यहाँ पे क्या थिंकिंग है that the curriculum for urban planning courses should have diverse and interdisciplinary approach. क्योंकि यहाँ पे देखो क्या हुआ है, this was because these subjects were absorbed into planning curriculum, जो ऊपर वाले subjects हैं, and उसके roots जो थे they were not direct social science or geography or architecture but इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी, एक दूसरे से जुड़े हुए, एक दूसरे में मिक्स होके उनको यूज करा वेस्ट ने बेटर प्लानिंग के लिए. So this was an inference we can draw, especially from the later half, second half of the passage. Then B बोलता है in India city administration is under bureaucracy. देखो इंडिया के बारे में तो बस एक ही बात करी है. Planning in India and its education it's different from the West. Okay, तो ये बोलना extreme हो जाएगा. India management of urban areas is a local affair and funding का problem है. Again, not enough data for us to comment on that. With high density of population and widespread poverty in urban areas, planned development is difficult. So poverty एक issue है. No. See, what the West has done, we were unable to do. उस basis पे we are different. India is different from the West. तो उसके अनुसार आंसर A होगा. So the passage is same. Second question. Now this is an assumption question, okay? So think of it that way. So answer to this one, question number 22 is only the first one. Now, the assumption is based on which you have to think this way that author might have thought of first point and based on that idea, that inkling, he wrote this passage. Okay. So India needs a new generation of professionals, urban professionals with knowledge that is relevant to modern practice. That's what author is saying. He's saying that today, if we compare with these cities, it is why they are iconic. That is because the planning, the plans carrying a heavy systems approach. Okay, the backbone of the systems theory is the process of translating the desirables into something practical. That means that the approach should be as per the requirement according to modern practice. So India also, because India still is different, its education differ from the West, and we need to learn from them because they are better. तो assumption एक हो सकता है कि India needs a new generation of urban professionals and the knowledge they have should be relevant to urban practice. It should not be traditional old things. Indian universities at present have no capacity or potential. अब ये बोल देना कि है ही नहीं हमारे पास to impart training in systems approach. Now this is extreme option कि हमारे पास चांस ही नहीं है इम्प्रूव करने का. दैट्स व्हाई सेकंड कैन नॉट बी दी assumption here. Go ahead, do this one. Very easy, this question. So the passage is a short one, and the question is which of the following statements best reflect logical rational inferences that we can make. Well, inference पढ़ लो. The current methods of food distribution are solely responsible for loss. Solely है, शायद ही आंसर होगा. Plant productivity it is adversely affected by trend of food loss wastage. Reduction in wastage of food results in lesser carbon footprint. Post-harvest technologies to prevent or reduce the loss are not available. ठीक है, देखते हैं. मैसेज बोलता है according to the Food Agriculture Organization, 1/3 of food produce is lost or wasted globally. Food is lost or wasted throughout the supply chain. Increasing wastage results in land degradation due to deforestation, unsustainable practices, extraction. Energy spent over wasted food results in about 3.5 billion tons of carbon dioxide production. Decay is also something that is harmful. and it leads to harmful emissions of other gases. Addressing the loss and wastage of food in all forms is critical. We have to make sure that we come up with some solution. So the current methods are solely responsible. It's not what we get. तो first option वाले यहीं से सब चले जाते हैं. Saying something is solely responsible should clearly be reflected in your passage. Indirectly हुआ है, कुछ point कर रहा है information towards this कि केवल current methods की वजह से ऐसा हुआ है, which is not there. So second and third only, land productivity is adversely affected. Productivity affect हो रही है. We get to see some numbers also. Reduction in the food results, wastage and all of food results in lesser carbon footprint, है ना. So reduction in the loss and wastage, क्योंकि यहाँ पे energy spent is about 3.5 billion tons of CO2 production every year, and this is spent over wasted food. तो अगर रिडक्शन हो जाएगा वेस्टेड फूड में, तो कार्बन फुटप्रिंट भी लेसर हो जाएगा, है ना. दोनों रिड्यूस हो जाएंगे. तो सेकेंड और थर्ड दोनों ट्रू होते हैं. पोस्ट हार्वेस्ट टेक्नोलॉजीज टू प्रिवेंट और रिड्यूस द वेस्टेज आर नॉट अवेलेबल. दिस इज अ वेरी नैरो ऑप्शन. तो हम नैरो ऑप्शंस को भी आंसर में यूज नहीं करते हैं. okay? I'll give you just 1 minute for this question because the passage you have already read. Okay. So here the answer is A. Only the first one, the first statement could be assumed. The food distribution mechanism needs to be reimagined and made effective. We need to work on two things to reduce loss and wastage of food. Especially अगर आखिरी में देखें, so author has mentioned किससे कितना नुकसान होता है, and he says addressing this loss and wastage in all forms is critical to complete the cycle of food sufficiency. So yes, the distribution mechanism needs to be changed. We need to make it better to reduce loss and wastage of food. Ensuring the reduction of wastage and loss of food is a social and moral responsibility of all citizens. Okay? Now, अगर ये assumption होता, then author would have indicated somewhere that the responsible wala part kaun hai na. Author is not saying that. Author is giving us some facts कि food is wasted and कितना waste हो रहा है, उससे land degradation हो रहा है, then the energy जो कि wasted food पर होती है spent, that is also it's releasing so much of carbon dioxide every year, decays leading to something harmful. So addressing the problems is critical to complete the cycle of food sufficiency and sustainability. It has nothing to do with who are behind these, and at this point author ने अगर assume करा होता कि किसकी responsibility, he would have mentioned those people over here in the passage, जो कि उसने नहीं करा है. So second one is not what we can assume, so only the okay. So here we are done. Make sure to like and share the session, guys, and I'm planning to continue with some sessions for CSAT 2025. If you got some help from this video today, I would like you to be regular here. We are going to have more sessions. Okay. Thank you so much. Once again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.